After an Alaskan town is plunged into darkness for a month, it is attacked by a bloodthirsty gang of vampires. The movie begins with establishing the remote Alaskan town of Barrow, where the sun sets for 30 days every winter. This long period of darkness becomes the perfect setting for a vampire siege. Sheriff Eben Olsen and his estranged wife, Stella, are introduced, showing their tension but also their shared care for the town. A stranger arrives by ship. They sabotage cell phones and destroy the town's satellite communications to ensure no one can call for help. Someone kills sled dogs with a sharp blade, without making any noise. Eben Olsen, the town sheriff, discovers their mutilated dog bodies while investigating a series of strange events. It's implied that the stranger killed them using a blade or another sharp tool. The old man at the power supply station is killed by one of the vampires during the ambush. The vampires attack swiftly and brutally, ensuring that the power station remains inoperable and the town stays in darkness. Wilson is a local helicopter pilot in Barrow. Early in the movie, it's discovered that his helicopter has been completely destroyed. The fuel lines are severed, and the machinery is damaged beyond repair. This renders the helicopter unusable, cutting off one of the only possible means of escape from the isolated town. Eben is called to the diner after the stranger behaves erratically, demanding raw hamburger meat and making cryptic, menacing remarks. When Eben arrives, the stranger is aggressive and confrontational, creating tension in the small diner. The stranger refuses to cooperate and continues acting hostile, provoking Eben. After a brief struggle, Eben physically overpowers the stranger and places him under arrest. Eben takes him to the station and locks him in a jail cell. While workers were having fun, someone attacked Gabe and killed him. The stranger delivers cryptic and ominous lines that foreshadow the vampire attack. "They're coming. They'll take me with them, and you'll all be dead." The stranger believes the vampires will reward him for his loyalty by turning him into one of them, granting him immortality. The power went off in the police station. Eben went outside to check his friend Gus, and he found the dead body of Gus. He told everyone to stay at home. The stranger's predictions come true when the vampires attack the town. The vampires begin by silently picking off individuals in isolated locations. The vampire leader, Marlowe, leads the attack with cold calculation. He commands his group in their ancient language, showing their coordination and intelligence. The vampires have strategically positioned themselves. They launch a violent assault on the town's main street. Townspeople run in panic, but the vampires are far faster and more brutal. They tear through the crowd, slashing throats, biting, and feasting on victims. One of the most iconic visuals in the movie is an overhead shot of the attack. The camera pans over the town, showing the chaos as blood stains the snow and bodies lie scattered across the streets. Fires and destruction contribute to the apocalyptic scene. As Eben and Stella are moving, a vampire suddenly lunges at them from the shadows. The vampire is incredibly fast and strong, overwhelming them with its sheer physical power. Eben fights back with whatever tools or weapons he has on hand, trying to protect Stella and himself. The vampire's savage nature makes the fight chaotic, with Eben barely managing to hold his ground. Bo comes to the rescue, sees the danger they are in. He takes the initiative to step in and help. After his arrest, Marlowe, the vampire leader, dismisses him as useless and kills him, demonstrating the vampire's cruelty and lack of regard for humans, even those who serve them. Eben, Stella, and a small group of survivors including Eben's younger brother Jake and some townsfolk hide in an attic. Over several days, they face starvation, fear, and internal conflict. The vampires toy with them, using psychological tactics like baiting survivors with a woman crying for help. Eben restrains himself from helping the crying woman, knowing it's a trap. She was killed by vampires. Eben found John under the house and asked him to come with him, but he didn't realize that John was infected. John tried to kill Eben, so Eben took an axe and killed John. When Marlowe finds John dead, he realizes that people are still alive and hiding somewhere. After 2 weeks, the group moves to an abandoned general store. Eben, along with the survivors, is inside the abandoned store, trying to plan their next move. The store seems quiet, but there is a sense of unease as the group knows the vampires could be anywhere. As they investigate, a small child vampire suddenly appears in the shadows. The child vampire begins to attack Eben, moving with inhuman speed and agility. Despite her smaller size, she is incredibly strong and aggressive. The group manages to fight the child vampire and kills her with an axe. They devise a plan to reach the Utilidor, a power plant outside town, for safety. Eben leads the survivors to the Utilidor, a location they believe will offer safety for a short time, as it is underground and less vulnerable to vampire attacks. However, the vampires are still hunting them, so the survivors are attempting to be stealthy and strategic in getting to the Utilidor without drawing attention. Eben tries to distract them so other people can reach the power plant. After the survivors reach the Utilidor, Eben is confronted by a female vampire, one of Marlowe's followers. Eben realizes that the vampires are vulnerable to ultraviolet, UV, light, a weakness that he learned earlier in the film when the survivors used a UV light to fight off a vampire. To protect the group, Eben uses a handheld UV light, a sun lamp, which emits a powerful ultraviolet beam that causes severe burns to the vampires. The light causes her body to recoil and deteriorate rapidly. The female vampire is eventually burned by the UV light. After the female vampire is defeated, Eben and the remaining survivors are faced with the continuing threat of the other vampires. The group's hope is fading as Marlowe and his vampires close in. Bo sacrificed himself to distract vampires to follow Eben. He attacked vampires and killed half of them. He tries to kill himself so they cannot eat him, but he failed and Marlowe crushed his head. Stella saw a child and saved her. She hid under the car with the child. The group dwindles further and Eben realizes the only way to stop the vampires is to confront them head-on. Marlowe delivers a chilling speech to his clan, asserting their dominance over humans and their need to remain hidden. As the final night approaches and dawn draws near, the vampires decide to burn the town to erase any evidence of their existence. To fight the vampires, Eben injects himself with infected blood, turning into one of them. Now possessing their strength and speed, he challenges Marlowe in a brutal one-on-one fight. The climactic battle between Eben and Marlowe ends with Eben using his newfound strength to punch through Marlowe's skull, killing him and scattering the vampires. As the sun finally rises, the remaining vampires flee. Eben, knowing he cannot revert to his human form, sits with Stella to watch the sunrise one last time. Eben's sacrifice comes full circle as he burns to death in the sunlight, leaving Stella heartbroken but alive. If you enjoyed diving deep into the story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated.